This video is a bit of a tirade about a piece of software I stopped liking called Steam, and I wanted to talk about why. If you use Steam and you get easily bothered by random strangers online, don't let me bug you. You can go back to what you were doing. Though, if you decide to leave some angry comment, that's actually pretty embarrassing. So, Steam. I see far too many people these days who just say Steam is a great platform for PC gaming all over YouTube, all over Reddit, and obviously Steam too, because no bias there. And that has to be one of the most hive minded jokes I've heard in a while, because anyone who says otherwise often gets silenced or bullied, or they just delete the video simply because they felt that they were, you know, not allowed to speak their mind thanks to a rage mob. So, whether you realize it or not, that's kind of the odd thing about it. The punchline is you and me, and you're being extorted, and so am I. The things that people copy paste like an unfunny meme that dies in 2 weeks and say fancy, big fancy buzzwords like an Apple commercial to silence anyone who disagrees is that it's more convenient than just going to the store and getting a DVD game. So, for the sake of validating this, claim that so many people have been saying for about 20 years now, let's compare and demonstrate. So, more broadly, to play a DVD or CD-ROM game, you go to the store, you buy the game, you bring it home, you put it in the DVD drive, you install it, and depending on the game, you maybe read a license agreement and you maybe enter a code or use a no CD patch. And then you play the game as much as you want. So, for those who kept track or otherwise didn't, that's about 6, maybe 8 steps. Sometimes you don't even have to install it because it just plays off the disc. So, let's just say about 5 to 8 steps on average. Those who didn't follow this pretty simple business model died off or otherwise have patches, mods, and cracks to probably make them work. And those that don't probably have some furry or German furry on GitHub who can make it work in a month. So pretty simple once you figure out what the hell is it, how it's all set up. Now let's see how Steam simplifies and enhances this process by comparison. We started with about 5 to 8 steps. Let's see how Steam does. To play a Steam game, you have to have a constant 24/7 internet connection, a supported mobile device, make an email using an address Valve approves of without any guidance or indication as to which one is allowed, use a phone number they approve of without any guidance or indication on which one is allowed, make an account, use a unique username and password that is long and random enough by some arbitrary metric of security, read the Steam license agreement, read the Steam subscriber agreement, add two-factor authentication using a smartphone app, get off the computer, verify you are a human being who wants to play games on Steam that owns the account, download the app, verify you're a human being again because the thing broke and you didn't answer within 5 seconds, then write down the backup code and hope you don't forget it, or if you do, you can kiss your games goodbye. Pay a hidden minimum fee of $5 to activate your account and have full access to all of Steam's features, including basic group and friend support, because Steam isn't actually free. Fun fact, more later. Purchase conditional access to a game after reading the Steam license agreement again. Read the game's license agreement again. Read the Steam subscriber agreement again. Print your receipt somewhere for safekeeping. Go to the library. Agree to the game's license again, if applicable. Then wait about 5 days for your game to download off the super slow servers. Then wait another day because your game updated twice within that time downloading for some reason. Download another patch that breaks the game. Download another patch because they felt like it. Download the last patch and then agree to the license again because it bugged out, or they're just making sure you're even paying attention at this point. Then you can play your game that you paid for if you meet all of the above conditions. So let's compare. A DVD game takes about 5 or maybe 8 steps to complete and play. Meanwhile, Steam is more like 28. That's fucking stupid. And Steam isn't free either. They want to harvest all of your info, charge you $5 to be able to even use a shitty text chat, or add friends on a platform that's actively concealing that information from you. Who does that? Not even Activision, Ubisoft, Xbox, Sony, and EA do that. But I'll tell you who does. Valve does that. So do internet service providers, streaming platforms, cable and TV companies, phone companies, and banks. Yeah, that's right. They're actually about on par with banks for their service or lack thereof. They probably also got the lazy, inattentive old bitch who works behind the counter, too. Anyway, and the whole thing that like people say they get away with it because they made Half-Life in the 90s or Portal 20 years ago. It's deflection that people just use to silence anyone who maybe questions this or doesn't like these little invasive steps to just play a video game in the first place. Just that Valve made a game some arbitrary metric of time ago. Well, last time I checked, it's not the 90s. It's not the early 2000s. It's not even the early 2010s. It's 2025. And Valve really ain't making games unless you count some tech demos and engine updates as new games instead of overhyped post processing on archaic models and textures from Half Life 2 or, their newest quote unquote video game, Deadlock, which is just full of gay Tumblr art. So that to be expected. Steam is overdesigned and absolutely prone to failure. Just ask anyone who's played Half-Life Source and Spec Ops: The Line or lives in a third world country. I'm sure they'll tell you all about how lovely Steam's service is and was to their favorite games that nobody can buy anymore on PC. All because of some random zero being pushed into a one that says, nah, you can't do that. Not that you can't, because Valve absolutely still has access to that shit. You think they delete it? No, they just delete it from you. So you don't have control. But that all aside, which is a lot of wanton destruction and overly disruptive and, manipulative business to shrug off and deny willy-nilly, there is one okay kind of use for playing games on Steam. Free games. If you find a game that doesn't have any paywalls and barriers and is just totally free, often some kind of simple story game or a game that just is shared using the Steam launcher without any DRM, then Steam is maybe okay. But you have to just actively deny everything else I told you and do all of those other steps to even get to that point in the first place. So, for one okay thing, you have about 28 reasons not to do that when the alternatives are plenty and often don't require such absurd setup. I don't think I would have, hopped onto Steam so quickly if I was told up front there were hidden fees attached to what was allegedly so free and open and that information was concealed. Actually, if you go to their website, at no point do they tell you all of these features actually cost a hidden $5 fee. You get a limited version up front. That seems a little shady, don't you think? It seems a little manipulative. They also don't tell you how long your games last, just that they sell them to you. Not that they can take them away at any time. Or if they do, that's already as you're making the purchase. Once again, kind of a dark pattern, shitty manipulative design. Though, thankfully, you can completely avoid this nonsense by going to other launchers like GOG, not even bothering with launchers altogether, just go buy an old DVD game, go to other sites like itch.io, My Abandonware, Old Games Download, Game Jolt, or pretty much anything else. Hell, even piracy if, if you're daring enough to go sail the seven seas and you're smart about it. This is why I don't like Steam anymore. And I felt I should share because I used to be a pretty frequent user of it. And the launcher only got worse as they removed features, locked down customization, left their most popular games like Team Fortress and Counter-Strike to die for sometimes years on end, but add more little skins and let hackers, criminals, and an actual droid army at one point run wild saying foul and disruptive crap. And all while, they made it run worse, takes up way too much resources and memory on my computer, even with a supercomputer. Um, all manners of other crap. The worst thing that sticks out to me is that they become the very thing they made their own Linux to avoid. And I'm not editing this. Just look at it side by side. They're Windows 8. They're fucking Windows 8. They made Linux to get off of Windows 8 only to turn their premier launcher into fucking Windows 8. Oh, and they didn't want to lock people down on a third-party service. They wanted to lock you down on their own one. Ah, I see. So it was ransomware. Pretty fucking simple. Anyway, when you compare Windows 8 to Steam side by side and the things I talked about, you might see why I made this video. I'm critical because I care, and this is something that's developed over the course of about 22 years and never improved. So if Steam wants to break itself, so be it. Just don't go down with them. I sure as fuck ain't. And definitely don't put all your eggs in the Steam basket. After seeing all of this shit, after just kind of having like all of these little thoughts, and I was thinking, yeah, maybe Steam isn't as good as I thought it was, and maybe all this advice I kept taking from people was pretty shitty. That's how I get to this point. So, if you liked this video, thanks for watching. If not, I'd force you to watch it, so feel free to go back to whatever you were doing before. Don't let me bug you. That said, I'm out of here. Later.